Hi everyone, welcome to this video where we will learn about how you can prepare for AWS Certified DevOps Engineer exam. So before we begin with today's video, a quick introduction about myself. I'm Aishwarya Sood. I am 4x AWS Certified, Amazon Authorized Instructor and AWS Academy Accredited Educator. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, here's my profile name given, and you can also scan this QR code to directly view my profile. And what will be the agenda for today's video? It's gonna look like this. We'll start by discussing a few benefits of getting AWS certified, and we'll see what are all the AWS certifications available which you can choose from, and we'll focus on the AWS certified DevOps engineer exam. So we'll discuss about the learning path for the same, and we'll discuss about how you can prepare for that, and how the exam is gonna look like. I mean the structure of it, and a few sample questions, exam strategies, that how you can answer the given questions in the given time and accurately, and also how you can get extra 30 minutes in the exam. So we'll discuss about all of these things one by one in the upcoming slides. So let's begin by discussing a few things about DevOps first. So what is DevOps? Many of you might be into this field, working as a DevOps engineer, DevOps professional, right? Or many of you might be aspiring to get into this domain. You develop, okay, the plan is done, then the code is written, it is built, tested, and it is released for the public. It is released for the production. It is released, deployed, operated. Then once it is operating, we continuously monitor it, and again we come back to this process. Again the changes are planned, it is coded, then built, tested, and released. So this chain keeps on going. Okay, so in this domain, if you are interested, or if you are already working and you think that you can excel into the same, like you want to start your career into the same, and you want to take the AWS certified DevOps exam, so this video is for you. You will get many more insights about this exam in this video. DevOps has a huge scope in the future. You can just research about it, and you can see that how fast this is getting into trends, and you can easily start your preparation for it, and it will be very useful for your career. So more over that, like that DevOps is really a trending thing that you can have in your resume, and it is something that you can get your career started, and with a very good profile. So what is the benefit of getting an AWS certification for the same? Let's just have a quick look at a few of the benefits. It validates the technical skills. You must be knowing DevOps, you must be knowing a lot of skills, but in order to validate that, it's good to have an AWS certification, and it is globally valid. So since your technical skills will be validated, and you will have a certificate by AWS which is globally valid, okay, so you go anywhere in the world, it will be equally valued all over the world by the employers, and it boosts your profile also. As I was telling you, DevOps is a very high in demand skill, and moreover, if you have got an AWS certification for the same, it's gonna boost your profile a lot. And of course, you can start getting higher paychecks if you have an AWS certification, since it separates you from the people who are not AWS certified. So for sure, this brings a lot of value to you. And once you are AWS certified, you will be eligible to join the AWS LinkedIn community, and you will also become eligible to this subject matter expert, so that you can work towards building the questions for the AWS official certification exam. So many more benefits are there. You will get benefits of, like, you can access the official merchandise store of AWS. Many more things you will be getting after getting AWS certified, so you can plan for it. And what all AWS certifications we have, you can see here. In the foundational category, we have cloud practitioner, and 3 certifications we have in the associate, 2 in the professional, and 6 in the specialty. So today we will be focusing on this certification, the AWS certified DevOps engineer, which comes under the professional category. So we'll discuss more about it, like what is this certification all about? What does this validate? Let's have a look. This credential will help organization identify and develop the talent with critical skills for implementing cloud initiatives, and earning this certification will validate your ability to automate the testing and deployment of AWS infrastructure and applications. So if you are somebody who is interested into this, or if you are already into this domain, this certification is perfectly for you. We'll discuss about a few more details about this certification as we go forward. Let's go back on the slide for now. So, who should exactly take the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer exam? So, the ones who have about some experience, let's say 1 or 2 experience into the same domain, or if you have experience developing the code in at least one programming language, or you have the experience in building highly automated infrastructures, administrating operating systems, or you have the understanding of modern development and operation processes and methodologies, CI/CD pipelines, the automation in the architectures, microservices on AWS, or you have the interest and knowledge in running containerized applications on AWS, then infrastructure as a code, auto scaling, load balancing, and you have the knowledge about the ability for defining and deploying, monitoring, metrics, and logging the systems on AWS, also for automating the security controls, governing the processes, and a lot more. So, if anything out of these things interests you, or if you are knowledgeable into any of these things, then this exam is for you. You can very well go ahead for this. You can prepare and you can for sure pass this exam. But how do we prepare for the exam? See, there are a lot of resources available by AWS itself, which are open for everybody, and most of them are available for free, and you can access them very easily. I'll tell you about a few resources out of them which might be very useful for you, and let's have a look at them. So first of all, here's the learning path of AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional Exam. That's how it looks like. You can think of going for AWS Certified Developer Associate first, or AWS Certified SysOps Administrator Associate first, but it's not mandatory. You can directly jump on to taking the DevOps exam, but it's a good thing if you can take up those exams first. Now, let's say after you are done with this, or maybe you are directly jumping onto DevOps, you can enroll for the DevOps Engineering on AWS Classroom program, which will be a live training by an Amazon authorized instructor. So you can go for that. But if you are not, opting for the classroom training, you can explore a lot more free trainings available at multiple resources that I'll be telling you in the next slide. And once you feel ready that you are aware of a lot of concepts that must be needed for the exam, then you can take up an exam readiness course, which is available again digitally also if you are not opting for a live class. So it is available on demand as well, and many live classes also keep happening. So you can opt for any of the classes as per your requirements. And once you have done this as well, and you are confident enough that you can understand the questions, and you can answer them within the given time, you can go ahead for the certification exam officially. So you will be able to pass the exam after that. Now, what all resources you can use for preparation of this exam? I have listed a few important resources which for sure will be helpful for you. First is this learning plan that is available on Skill Builder. Let me show you about this. 1 second. Yeah, so this is available on Skill Builder. So I hope you all have knowledge about what is Skill Builder, but if you do not know, then we have this here, where you can explore free courses available on AWS, and if not free, there are paid subscription based courses as well. So you can check out the courses that are under your interest, and this learning plan is the one that you can go for. So some issues, seems like some issue. Let me just try it once again. Yeah, so it's working now. The same link you can use, and all you have to do is just create an account on the Skill Builder. So I'll tell you more about it. So this is something specific that I wanted to share with you. The DevOps Engineer Learning Plan is curated where you can find around 6 courses, which includes getting started with DevOps on AWS, introduction to the CLI, then CDK, and advanced testing practices using the DevOps tools, and improving the code quality with Code Guru Reviewer. And finally, you have this exam readiness course available as well. So you have all this in a single place. You can enroll for it and you can start it. And once you finish every course, you get a completion certificate from AWS as well. So that's a nice course designed for DevOps, and it's available for free. You can check it out. So another thing that you can explore is a lot of other courses as well. Maybe you are interested in something else. So you can search your favorite courses from here. You have a lot of options. Some are available for free, some are available on a subscription basis. You can explore the one that is that is of your interest from Skill Builder. So that was one thing. Apart from this, you can check out the self-paced labs available on amazon.quicklabs.com. Here you just have to go and check out the catalog. Many labs are available for free and you don't even need to have your own AWS account. You will get all the credentials and you can perform the labs and check out and practice more on AWS. And you have FAQs, white papers, and documentation available, which is very, very comprehensive. So if you want more knowledge and if you want to dive deep into a particular concept, you can explore these resources for that particular concept or the service. Then you have got events and webinars. If you want to attend some online events or in-person events, anything can be explored from here. And you have got exam guides and sample questions from AWS itself. Let me show you. So exam guide will include like the structure of the exam, that how is it gonna look like, what will be the number of questions, the passing marks and everything. And sample questions, around 10 sample questions will be available, created by AWS itself along with their explanations. So there you go. You can check out the exam guide and the sample questions from this place. Okay, you just have to check the official practice question sets. Okay, they are also available on Skill Builder. You can check out the exam preparation course, which is the exam readiness course itself, and the AWS Cloud Quest as well. Now the exam guide, if you want, let me show you. This we have to select DevOps Engineer and we will be getting it. We scroll down, we can get the exam guide. Okay, and the sample questions also. So we have got a few questions which you can practice from this. This is the document which you can take, and we have got the exam guide here, which explains the structure of the exam, the domains that will be covered, their weightage and their detailed explanation, that what all things you need to know. So few important tips for this, like what topics can be important. You can explore the exam guide deeply, like what all things do you need to know. You must be aware fully of the CI/CD pipeline, all the stages that come into it. Okay, starting from the source, then build, test, deploy, everything you need to know nicely. And you must be aware of infrastructure as a code. You must be aware of the tools like code pipeline, code build, code commit, etc. So apart from that, yeah, infrastructure as a code I was telling. So configuration management and the infrastructure code as the next domain. So you must be aware about all of these concepts as well. And you can read more details about each of this particular domain, that what all things will be covered. So make sure to be prepared accordingly what is written here. And then monitoring and logging, we will expect you to be aware of Amazon S3, CloudWatch logs, then EMR, then Kinesis, and many more things that you can find here. Okay, so everything like how do you monitor your systems on AWS, you must be aware of that. And the automation, a very important part, you must be aware when you are going for DevOps exam. Again, the CI/CD pipeline process whole you need to know. That incident and event response is another main domain in this. So here also you must be aware of the automation for this. And apart from that, high availability, fault tolerance and disaster recovery, very important. So these concepts also you need to be aware of, like all this, like how you can when you can use the managed services, when you can use the unmanaged services, like EC2. Okay, like what can be the example, like as they have given here, running the Docker on EC2 because this is unmanaged, or when you need to go to a managed service like ECS where you do not need to do that. So deciding these things and exploring all these services, choosing the right service for the right case is what you need to know. And few more services which you can just have a quick look at, like what is it, and that's all. No need to dive deep into all of the services, but yeah, these domains you need to dive deep so that you can get ready for the exam, since this is a professional level exam. So you can explore the exam guide for a deeper understanding of what all things you need to know. Now, apart from this, we have the final resource that I wanted to share with you, the ramp up guide. So I have it open already. Ramp up guides you can find here. So you can browse by solution or by the role. Let's get into the DevOps ramp up guide here. Let me close the other ones that we don't need. So ramp up guide, we check here. Here, everything that you need for your preparation is listed under a single document. So this is very, very helpful. You can check it out. All the useful resources for AWS, everything, be it podcast, blog, documentation, knowledge center, FAQs, everything you have it here and you can check it out. Okay, and specifically for DevOps, what you need to prepare: the workshop, self-paced labs, blogs, videos, tutorials, classroom training, digital training, everything is listed under a single document. So you can make the maximum use of this document while preparing for your certification exam. So that was about the resources that you can use to prepare for the exam and a few topics that you have to focus on, like when you are going for the DevOps exam. So this would be more than enough for preparing your exam, and eventually the hands-on experience, of course you need that. There is no substitute to that. So hands-on experience is must. So for that you have to keep practicing on the AWS console. Now, exam blueprint, that like what will be the number of questions and further details. There are going to be multiple choice or the multiple response questions. Multiple choice means out of the given options, one will be correct, you have to select. Multiple response means you will be getting 5 to 6 options and you have to select 2 or 3 correct options in that. 1000 will be the total marks for the exam, and out of that 75 questions are gonna come and you will be needing to score at least 750 marks so that you can pass the exam. So 750 is a passing score and total questions are 75. And for how much duration you are going to get to attempt the exam, 180 minutes is what you will be getting in order to attempt the exam. So that's enough. You can for sure do that and just target on scoring the passing marks at least. Prepare your plan accordingly and you can easily do that. Now, these are about the resources that you can use to prepare for the exam. We'll be moving towards a few sample questions so that I can tell you a few tips that how you can understand the question and how you can answer it accurately within the given time. And then we will move towards the further things. So, first question goes like this. A company controls the source code for its product in AWS Code Commit, and the company is creating a CI/CD pipeline for the product using AWS Code Pipeline. Okay, and the pipeline must automatically start on changes to the master branch of the code commit repository. Changes are made to the application every day, so the pipeline needs to be as responsive as possible. Which actions should the DevOps engineer take to meet these requirements? So few keywords here. Let's have a look at the keywords. One is they have told that they have the source code in code commit and the pipeline is created in the code pipeline, and the pipeline should automatically start on the changes. Okay, when some changes happen onto the master branch of code commit repo, it should automatically start. Then changes are made every day, so the pipeline needs to be as responsive as possible. Let's have a look at the options for this. We have configure the pipeline to periodically check the repository and start the pipeline when the changes are detected. Okay, so we will look into other options as well before thinking about this. Configure the repository to generate an Amazon CloudWatch event upon the changes, and configure the pipeline to start in response to the event. Okay, seems somewhat correct, but we will have a look at other options as well. Configure the repo to periodically run an AWS Lambda function, and the function should check the repository and start the pipeline when changes are detected. Okay, let's have a look at the last option also so that we can come to the conclusion. Configure the repo to publish an SNS notification upon changes and subscribe the pipeline to an SNS topic. So in this, out of all the given options, D is not the valid method to start the pipeline. So we can eliminate that. In C is not a feature that this code commit supports. So this also we cannot do. Okay, it can't, run periodically. That Lambda function can run periodically and that should start the repository and the pipeline. No, that's not something it supports. Now, looking at the B option seems somewhat correct. Let's evaluate it between A and B, like which is the best option. Let's have a look at the A option. It says configure the pipeline to periodically check the repository and start the pipeline when changes are detected. So we want that it should be as responsive as possible. But if we do it periodically, this is possible. But the thing is that it will only run when that particular period is happening. Okay, let's say I'm specifying that every day at 5 p.m. it is gonna check. Okay, so unless and until 5 p.m. is there, it won't check that. But what if an event happens? What if that change happens previous to that? So it won't be that responsive. It will keep waiting until the next period. So I think B is the perfect option, and yes, this is a perfect option because this will bring much responsiveness, since this CloudWatch event will catch the change as and when it happens, and it will become much responsive than any other option here. So this is a correct option. Moving on to the next question we have here. A DevOps engineer wants to implement a blue-green deployment process for an application on AWS and be able to gradually shift the traffic between the environments. So have a look at the keyword, gradually shift the traffic between the environments. The application runs on Amazon EC2 instances behind an ALB. Instances run in an autoscaling row, and the data is stored in an RDS multi-AZDB instance. External DNS is provided by Route 53. So we have got all of these resources that are being used. Now, which combination of steps will implement the blue-green process? We have to implement blue-green deployment, and we have got to know what all resources are there. Okay, so blue-green deployment means like there will be two different environments. One will be the production one, that is main one on which the traffic is currently being deployed, and another will be the one that we have updated, that will be the green deployment environment. So we want to shift the traffic between blue and green. Okay, so that is what we are wanting. Means we need to look at the resources. This is what we are using. Let's have a look at the options. Create a second autoscaling group behind the same application load balancer. Create a second application load balancer and the autoscaling group. Create a second alias record in Route 53 pointing to the new environment and use a failover routing policy between the two records. Create a second alias record in Route 53 pointing to the new environment and use a weighted routing policy between the two records. Configure the new EC2s to use the same RDS instance and configure the new EC2s to use a failover node of the RDS DB instance. So in these options, as you can see, first one says use the same ALB. It won't be feasible for the blue-green deployment. Why? Because we need to shift the traffic from blue environment and the green deployment. If we have the same load balancer, we'll have the same endpoint, so we won't be able to differentiate the traffic which is routed to some different endpoint. That's why this is eliminated. B says create a second ALB and autoscaling group. Yes, that's correct. So we need to create a different load balancer, so we get a different endpoint and then the autoscaling group. B is correct. C option, create a second alias record and use this failover routing policy. Again, this is incorrect, because failover routing policy will only route the traffic to one environment at a time. If first is healthy, it will route the traffic to that. If second is healthy and the first has got unhealthy, it will route the traffic to the second one. That is a green one. But we want to shift between blue and green, both of them. That's why weighted routing would be a good option so that we can adjust the weights. Okay, that some amount of traffic onto blue environment and some to the green environment. So D is also correct. Now configure the new EC2s to use the same RDS instance. That's also correct because the last option says configure them to use the failover node of the DB instance. No, because the failover node is just a secondary copy of the database which is not eligible for reads and writes unless something happens to the primary, and for the consistency to be maintained for the database, we'll use the same database instance, and B, D and E comes out to be the correct option. Okay, that's how you can get the correct answers out of this. Now the next question, a development team wants to set up an AWS code commit repository, and developers should be able to push changes to their own branches, but they should not be allowed to push commits or merge the pull request into the master branch. Additionally, whenever a commit or merge occurs into the master branch, the project manager needs to receive a notification. So which combination of steps can satisfy this requirement with the shortest delay? Let's have a look at the options. First one, attach an IAM policy to the developer IAM group that denies the actions of pushing commits, merging pull requests, and adding files to the master branch. Let's first confirm where we have to give the policy. Okay, so we have to give the permission on to, I think, the users. Okay, not the users, but for the code commit repository, we have to specify the permissions. Let's have a look at the second option. Attach a IAM policy was the first option. Now, second option is attach a resource policy to the code commit repository that denies members of the IAM developer group the actions of pushing commits, merging pull requests, and adding files to the master branch. Set up an AWS Lambda function that runs every 15 minutes to check for repository changes and publish a notification to an SNS topic. Set up a CloudWatch events rule triggered by a code commit repository state change event for the master branch and add an Amazon SNS topic as a target. And configure CloudTrail to send the log events to CloudWatch logs. Define a metric filter to identify repository events and create a CloudWatch alarm with an SNS topic as a target. So if you remember, we needed the shortest delay. We needed the notification with the shortest delay. So this Lambda is, running after every 15 minutes. That is not a good choice to go for here because we have other options as well. So we will eliminate the C option. Now, E option says this CloudTrail logs you can use. Now this CloudTrail can also take up to 15 minutes to record an event. That means this is also not a preferable choice. And when we talk about policies, with the code commit, we don't have the resource policy supported. We just have to give the IAM policies, which means B also we can eliminate because this is not supported at all. And B is eliminated, then C and D is eliminated because we can't wait for the 15 minutes. We want the shortest delay as possible. That means low latency is what we are expecting. So A, IAM policy would be great option, and D, CloudWatch events will be a great option for getting the lowest latency because they will be triggered whenever a state change happens in the code commit repository. So it can capture the changes as fast as possible, and then it can add the SNS topic where the notification will be going to the manager. That was what was needed, and it will be the quickest option from others mentioned here. So another question we have here. A company is using AWS code build to build its application, and the company policy requires that all build artifacts to be encrypted at rest. Access to the artifacts must be limited to IAM users with the permission to assume the operations role. Let's see how we can meet these requirements. So the main thing here we have to take care is that artifacts should be encrypted at rest. That is the main thing here. We have the option we can use we can add a post build command to the code build specification that pushes build objects to an S3 bucket, and then set a bucket policy that will prevent the upload unless and until there is the encryption. And we add a deny statement for all the actions with the not principal section referencing the operations IAM group, so that like other than that nobody should be, other than the developers, nobody should be able to other than the operations, nobody should be able to access it. Then add a post build command to the code build specification that pushes build objects to an S3 bucket. Configure the S3 event notification to trigger Lambda function to get the object encrypted, put it back to the S3 with an encrypted tag key and a true tag value, and add the S3 bucket policy with deny statement for all the actions with the not principal section referencing the operations IAM group and a condition section referencing the encrypted tag. So this seems to be a long process. Still, we'll have a look at the other options first. Add a post build command to the code build specification that pushes build objects to an S3 bucket that has default encryption enabled. Set a bucket policy containing a deny statement for all the actions with the not principal section referencing the operations IAM rule. This seems a better option, but we'll have a look at the last as well. Add a post build command to the code build specification that calls KMS encrypt API call, passing the artifact to the KMS for encryption. So you would have got the idea by now. What is the difference between all these options? The first one is using bucket policy to make sure the encryption is there. Okay, and the second one is also using this one is adding the policy to the IAM group here. Okay, and this is also adding the policy to the IAM group here, and it is using the bucket policy to say that encryption should be there unless and until it is not there. If it is not there, then the upload should not be allowed. So this doesn't seem the perfect choice, but the C option, if you see, it is saying use the policy with the IAM role, and that was what was expected in the question. Let's go back to the question. Okay, this is permission that is to be assumed with the operations role and not with a group, whereas the first and second was saying it should be given to the group. So we can eliminate that. C option seems to be correct, and because D option says use KMS, but KMS can encrypt only the data up to 4 KB. That means the artifact can't be encrypted with the KMS. That's why C is a perfect option here. So here we come with the fifth question. An operator is managing a legacy application on AWS, and the application is monolithic Microsoft Windows program running on a single EC2 instance, and the source code for the application is not available, so the application cannot be modified, and it has a memory leak and malfunctions when memory utilization on the instance goes above 90%. The operator has configured the uniform CloudWatch agent and the EC2 instance to collect the memory utilization performance monitor counter. So which actions we can take to prevent the application from malfunctioning? Now there are two parts in this question. Like first is that how the unified CloudWatch agent will be publishing the system level metrics, and the another thing is how we can take an action in response to an SNS message. Because once we are having the CloudWatch agent publishing some particular metrics, there should be somebody receiving that. So that can be SNS, and we'll have a look at the options, but that can be SNS, and if SNS gets the information, so how can the further action be taken in order to achieve this requirement? That is what we have to look here. First option says create CloudWatch events that publishes to an SNS topic when memory utilization goes above 80%. Create a metric filter on memory utilization in CloudWatch logs. Create a CloudWatch alarm on the memory utilization filter that publishes to an SNS topic when the memory utilization goes above 80%, and create a CloudWatch alarm on the memory utilization metrics that publish to an SNS topic when the memory utilization goes above 80%, and subscribe a Lambda function to the SNS topic that restarts the application with Systems Manager run command, and subscribe the EC2 instance to the SNS topic and run a script that restarts the application. So we have got multiple things here. First part, as I told you, we have to understand where the CloudWatch agents where the CloudWatch agent that was in the server, that is the EC2 instance, where it is going to send the system level metrics. So it is not needed to go to anywhere else. We can directly create a CloudWatch alarm from that. Okay, because the metric that CloudWatch agent was fetching, okay, it was monitoring, it directly can be used to create an alarm. So we don't need to do anything else, because events is also for some for the cases when we need to define a scheduled event, or we can, we are supposed to detect some changes. In those cases we can use a CloudWatch events, and we can, like, here if we have directly the alarm, why we need to use anything else? We can directly use that metric, create a alarm based on that metric, and publish it to the SNS topic when the memory utilization goes above 80%. So that will be monitored by the CloudWatch agent. It will be coming in the alarm. So when the alarm is in the alarm condition, which will go at 80%, above 80%, so SNS will be notified into that. Now the next thing is, once the SNS gets the message, what is the further action that has to be taken? Whether the Lambda will be the subscriber or the EC2 will be the subscriber. In this case, D will be correct, because Lambda will be the subscriber. EC2 instance cannot subscribe to this SNS message. Lambda can subscribe. So it can take the further action, like it can restart the application with the systems manager run command. That's why C and D is the correct choices in this question. So that was about a few questions about the DevOps exam. These questions are not very simple, being honest. Okay, so you have to have good practice, hands-on practice, and a thorough understanding of the concepts. Only then you can understand. Otherwise, they might be a little difficult to understand. So make sure to practice well before going for this exam, because this needs a lot of understanding and efforts. Okay, but this is how you can understand the question: finding the keywords, understanding the requirement, and then seeing the options and checking the accurate option out of them within the given time. Now, apart from this, you can take the exam offline, or you can take online at a PSN center or at PSI. Also, one important thing about this, starting January 1, 2023, you won't be able to take the exam through PSI, only PSN view will be available. So if you already have an exam scheduled with the PSI, you can take it before December 31. Anyway, if you have it. Otherwise, for the new exams, it's good if you schedule it through the Pearson view itself. So, and to schedule your exam, you can go to this website, aws.training/certification. Another thing I wanted to tell you about is the exam accommodations. So you can request for a few accommodations, like you want extra 30 minutes for your exam if you are a non-native English speaker. So let me show you where you can do that. I have already logged into my certification account. Okay, one more thing I wanted to show you before I go there. So there was this website also, aws.amazon.com/getting started/hands-on. You can find a lot of hands-on practices over there. You can try out multiple things from here. Step-by-step guides are given here. You can choose the category you want for, the level you want for, and the content type you want for. So this is also a great resource for practicing the hands-on on AWS. Okay. So that was about the resources. Now coming to the certification account, I wanted to tell you two important things here. One is where you can request for accommodations. This is here. So you can request for accommodations from this place. And another thing is this one, free exam retake by Pearson. So accommodations, let me load it. Again, some issues it seems. So yeah, it is here. We can request the accommodations from here. What we have to do is we just have to click on request accommodation, and we have to select the selection from here. Do we want this plus 30 minutes? If you are a non-native English speaker, you can select and just click on create. It will be created and approved immediately. If you want anything else also, you can select from here and soon it will be approved. So this is what you can take it up from here, okay, depending on your needs, and you can create an accommodation. After that, you have to schedule the exam, okay, not after scheduling the exam. First, you have to request the accommodation and then schedule the exam. Now, what was this Pearson free retake? So if you are watching the video anywhere between September and December 2022, then you have this option to take it up. Pearson VUE is giving a limited period offer for this. Like you can take a free exam retake. Okay, like you just have to schedule your exam normally. How you do? All you have to do is use this code Pearson APAC. Okay, so that in case you fail the exam, you will be able to take it for the second time for free. Okay, so that is a good thing. If you are scheduling your exam in these dates, September 23 to December 15, make sure to use this coupon so that in case you want to take it again, you can take it for free. Otherwise, you have to pay the full amount for the exam, and for professional levels exams it is $300, right? So it's a good thing. You can try it out. Just use this coupon while scheduling your exam. So that was it about this video. That was the information that I wanted to share with you. I hope you are clear with all of these resources. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And all the best for the exam. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.